Democrats are spending tens of millions of dollars to learn how to speak to American men, which proves they're not going to succeed. They have no idea what they're doing. And thus, or I should say, it exemplifies exactly what their problem is. At the same time, we got this report about the search for the next Joe Rogan, the liberal version, I guess. And even Joe has acknowledged, what do you mean? You had one. It was me. Indeed. And then you also had a Tim Pool. You also had a Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. I mean, the list goes on of former liberals. Elon Musk, Dave Rubin, famously. He's the guy that viral video of leaving the left back in the day. Democrats have no ideas. They are spending tens of millions of dollars trying to figure out what to do. They fundamentally misunderstand human beings, and it's because they are weird cult-like robots. This is why they fail. And I love this because it kind of breaks down for us, those on this side, perfectly, that we are on the right side. Democrats keep saying the MAGA's a cult, yet for some reason they're recruiting. And the Democrats don't know how to communicate. Now you've got a bunch of articles popping up saying, don't do this, don't spend the money, but oh boy, you love to see it. My friends, back in November, on time of the election, even before the election, I warned you of this. I said this is going to happen. And I had a lot of people said, I don't know about that, Tim. I don't know about that. Look, they can pay Rachel Maddow $25 million a year, and she gets no views. She gets very little. They're going to come to these podcasters, these liberal guys, and they're going to dump money on them, and these liberals are begging for it. And you know what? To a degree, it works. Many people have said to me, Tim, yeah, but, Democrats aren't going to succeed because they don't understand authenticity. Hey, money talks and BS walks. This is going to be the next great battle outside of politics and culture. Perhaps we had wokeness and feminism. Now we're going to have the machine state, money and power versus honor and integrity. Now, that may have always been the case, or at least the underbelly of the political space, but they're going to dump money into this culturally. So this is where things should get interesting, because I don't know how that will manifest. My point is, there are going to be many individuals who are offered large sums of cash, TV advertisements, billboards, the whole shebang, to lie. Now, on the right, they say, this is why Democrats can never succeed. It's the lying that pissed us off. Agreed. But money works. If advertising and these ad buys, if they didn't work, Coca-Cola would never be selling the Coca-Colas around the world. So, people always say you can't manipulate, you can't. Yes, they can. And I got to tell you, man, there are a lot of people on the right that are grifters. Maybe not most, I don't know, but a lot. And they see a path towards making money, and that's why they do it independently. See, here's the problem. With the Democrats, you got to be party approved. On the right, you can be independent, say the right things, and you can make money. Now, I do think the right is largely comprised, not completely, of individuals who are at least being somewhat honest. That's why you have disparate political ideologies forming this populist wave. But when the money comes around, a lot of the grifters are going to jump ship and take the cash. And then you'll find out who really believes what. Before we get started, my friends, we'll give a shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club for shouting us out. This is your Rumble morning show. I am your transition. You're all transitioning into the afternoon. This is the noon hour hosted by Tim Pool. You can follow me at on X and Instagram at Timcast. And before we get started, we also have an amazing sponsor. It's AmericanFinancing.net, my friends. You can go to AmericanFinancing.net/Tim. We're all feeling it. Costs are rising on everything, gas, groceries, home repairs. And if you're a homeowner, you probably thought, should I call American Financing to refinance and pay off the credit card debt? Then you second guess yourself because of that low mortgage rate you currently have. Listen, that low rate's not saving you if you're drowning in credit card interest at 25% or more. That's the math no one wants to face. It's costing you thousands. Here's the truth. If you're only making minimum payments, that debt will follow you for years. That's why people are calling American Financing, because they're saving customers an average of $800 a month by using their equity to finally break free from credit card debt. You owe it to your family to see what's possible. No upfront fees, no pressure. Costs you nothing to find out what you could save every month. And if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. Call American Financing today, 866-890-7811. That's 866 890-7811 or visit americanfinancing.net/Tim. Call American Financing today. Find out how customers are saving an average of $800 a month. Again, you got the number, americanfinancing.net/Tim. Check it out. Shout out. Also, don't forget, guys, have you not purchased a Step on Sneck and Find Out skateboard? We have this available at boonieshq.com. The link is in the description below, but we got a great selection. We're currently working on the new run of graphics, which is why I'm doing this shout out. We got a bunch I think you guys would like. The boobies. If you like blue-footed booby birds, then this is a skateboard for you. Perhaps you want grizzly bears to be armed with shotguns. If you believe that we should be arming bears and that we have the right to arm bears and that they should be wearing flannel jackets, straw hats with shotguns, then perhaps you could purchase this one. But my favorite, of course, and I'm absolutely loving how we've sold out of these over and over again, the 28th Amendment board, which reads, chickens being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep, bear, and breed chickens shall not be infringed. And I just know that all you guys are buying these and hanging them up on your chicken coops. Let's go, 20th Amendment. Link in the description below or boonieshq.com. Let's jump into the news, my friends. Oh, boy. We got this from The Independent. Democrats spending millions to learn how to speak to American men and win back the working class. Project Sam. And what does that mean? It means speaking to American men, which they don't know how to do. Democrats have blown millions of dollars on efforts to appeal to American men who turned to President Donald Trump in droves on Election Day in the hopes of winning back the working class, according to a report. Democrats have spent $20 million on their efforts, with donors and strategists holding up in luxury hotel rooms, brainstorming how to convince working class men to return to the party, according to a New York Times report. The plan, codenamed Sam, speaking with American men, a strategic plan. So that's actually SWAMISP, by the way, promises to use the funds to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces, according to the report. What is wrong with these people? They are NPCs. That's it. They are. What is it? Body snatchers, drone people? It's like robots being like, how do we communicate with people? We don't quite understand. Maybe you could start by not lying and reading scripts all day. Anyway, as the Times described it, the reports can read like anthropological studies of people from faraway places. Maybe that's because it's true. Democrats view Americans as a foreign group of people they don't quite understand. The efforts also recommends Democrats buy advertisements in video games, among other things, the Times reported, which is stupid and silly. They don't get it. Bro, I got to tell you this, man. I am that arrogant. If Democrats came to me and were like, could you craft a strategy to help Democrats? I'd say, of course I could. The problem is nobody wants to be associated with you. But I actually think there's a bunch of things they could be doing that could win them attention. Manipulative tactics. I think they'll eventually figure it out. That's why I'm not going to bring up some of these issues. But when they mention advertising in video games, I'll give you one example. And it has to do with sock puppet accounts. And let me put it this way. People are driven by social acceptance largely, not completely, but largely. And this is, we need... Well, when I say we need, Democrats don't quite understand what makes a person do the things they're going to do, right? So let's read more. Above all, we must shift from a moralizing tone, the plan urges. While the Democratic Party has struggled in recent years to maintain voters, the party hopes to be rejuvenated by the fact that Trump's popularity has been on the decline since he was elected last fall. Still, the party has been scrambling to find both messaging and a messenger since losing the White House and Senate, while Republicans held the House of Representatives in the November election. Recent polling from Strength in Numbers Verisite places Trump underwater with American voters on every single issue, except border security. Again, highlighting a single poll means very little to me. According to the poll, 40% of people either strongly or somewhat approve of Trump's overall handling of the presidency, while 56% disapprove, split by the same modifiers, putting him 16 points underwater. Trump's numbers seem to be getting worse and worse, and I'm pretty optimistic Democrats will have some real opportunities in 2026. Zach McCrary, a Democratic pollster, told The Times. The 2022 midterms masked the Biden problem. He said about former President Joe Biden, a good 2026 midterm, we should not let that make a deeper problem. Democrats have lost credibility by being seen as an alien on cultural issues. Let me just I gotta. Okay, you want to learn how to talk to a working class guy? When you go to working class guys and say you want to chop off the balls of little kids, they're going to be like, get out of my face. Now, there are a bunch of people who are developmentally disabled, cognitively stunted, and emotionally driven who don't care. There's one viral video where it's a young boy, probably like 14 or 15, who's got a father injecting him with hormone-blocking drugs. Insane. These people exist, but whew, scary stuff. They're losing, though. They're losing. The Democrats and these people who live in this world are robot people, okay? They are drones. They just do whatever they're told. They don't ask questions, and it is actually terrifying, but the minority. Take a look at this from the New York Times. Democrats throw money at a problem countering GOP clout online. Oh, man, they really just don't get it. I don't care about Trump. I don't care about GOP clout. Half of my career doing this show, doing my morning show, was me not wanting to vote for Trump. And it's only the past 5 years. So I'm making these videos going back to like 2016, 2017. And so in the last 5 years, I've been saying I will vote for Trump. I am sick of the corruption and I want accountability. But in 2020, I gave the maximum to Tulsi Gabbard. And then what happens? Donald Trump brings her on for his second term. And I said, I, as a former liberal, got exactly what I wanted with RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. And Donald Trump and Doge, it's a dream come true. You want to win us back? You're psychopaths who want to burn the country down. Talking to us doesn't mean anything. You come to me and say, hey, man, I can talk like you and I have ads in video games. I'm like, okay, well, stop cutting little kids' balls off, secure our border, and stop selling us out to China. And they go, nah. And I'm like, okay, then I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. It doesn't matter the words you use. You're psychopaths. I got to read it, okay, instead of ranting. At private gatherings, strategists and donors are swapping ideas to help the party culture the digital mojo that helped President Trump win. Yes, there's a price tag. Oh, boy! Trump derangement cheerleader Brian Tyler Cohen, who makes literally every single video he's ever done be Donald Trump, and I'm exaggerating a bit. It's about, like 9 out of 10 videos he produces. It's literally just a random picture of Trump. The dude loves the man. He couldn't live without him. 6 months after Democratic Party's crushing defeat, the party's mega donors are being inundated with overtures to spend tens of millions of dollars to develop an army of left-leaning online influencers. At donor retreats and in pitch documents seen by the New York Times, liberal strategists are pushing the party's rich backers to reopen their wallets for a cavalcade of projects to help Democrats, and as the cliche now goes, find the next Joe Rogan. You're all dishonest hypocrites, and that's your problem. But let me tell you, Democrats, let's figure out what the issue is. 1, you need to acknowledge reality, the reality that we can all see. 2nd, your policies suck. So maybe get rid of the garbage policies and figure out what it is you actually want to do. Maybe that's the problem. This is what they want to do. And so they can only really lie about it. I can tell a Democrat, look, you want a liberal Joe Rogan? It's called cultivate talent within your party. They don't have it. Like Gavin Newsom couldn't talk to a working class guy if his life depended on it. He's going to be like, and this is a hammer? What is this? Oh, this is a gavel. I got a rubber mallet on the side of the table. They're going to show him a screwdriver and he's going to be like, is that a drink? No, it's a tool. I didn't know that. I'm kidding, by the way. The point is, how about you go like this? 1, drop the weird gender stuff. Bill Maher's been screaming about that for a million years. I love this. He's like, the Democrats are claiming they want to put transgender prisoners in the opposite gendered prison. That's like 400 people. Why are you pandering to this group? Wow, well, keep trying, Bill. See, Bill hates Trump, and he believes things that are wrong about Trump. But he's begging Democrats to get off the insanity. You know what they could do? Man, if they really just, here's the problem is that Democrats genuinely want to trans the kids. They genuinely want open borders. And so they're not going to win. That's just it. Drop the pretense. Nothing else matters. You're not going to win. Democrats have a path towards victory. If it really is about party tribalism, it's simple. Acknowledge that what is true, and then just say Trump's not the guy for the job. If the Democrats put forward a candidate who said, and I got to be honest, every day I look at what Donald Trump is offering, and I know exactly why the American people want it. We want a secure border. We want a healthy working class. We don't want these wars. But you have placed an erratic, irrational man in that position. Here's the Democrats offer you now. Someone who agrees largely on these middle-of-the-road policies, is pro-choice, which I think would play well, but isn't Trump. They don't do that. They don't do that. They have Joe Biden come out and lie with the very fine people hoax. You're losing people. And I got to say, when I give that scenario of like, don't make it Trump, be middle-of-the-road populist, Democrats genuinely want open borders, gender ideology, DEI. These things are deeply unpopular. You can't defend them because they're illogical, racist, they're just wrong, sexist, etc. So long as they keep propping up personalities who defend that, and the only thing they can say is Trump bad, they will lose. But I digress. They're going to say, find the next Joe Rogan. Democrats widely believe they must grow more creative in stoking online enthusiasm for their candidates, particularly in less outwardly political forms of media like sports or lifestyle podcasts. Many now take it as gospel that Mr. Trump's victory last year came in part because he cultivated an ecosystem of supporters on YouTube, TikTok, and podcasts, in addition to the many Trump-friendly hosts on Fox News. I love this. I was having a conversation. I've said it 800,000 times, but the episode just came out with Bill Maher. And he told me I watch too much Fox News. And I responded with like, yeah, we're MSNBC and CNN. Like, this is the crazy thing. And you know, it was a very respectful conversation. It wasn't contentious. But, you know, I give the respect that I'm given. I watch Fox News sometimes. I think I sometimes watch the 5. To be fair, Fox and Friends on in the morning. But this is the crazy thing about the statement, you watch too much Fox News. Have y'all ever watched Fox and Friends? Like, what is it? Today, a plane crashed. Today, it's news. And the reason why I turned off CNN, and this is the crazy thing about saying that you watch too much Fox News from Bill. I used to watch CNN. I'd have it running 24/7. No joke. When I was in Jersey, I had a projector on my wall, big, huge wall. It was amazing. And I would just have CNN on. And then when I would record, I would mute it. And then once I was done, I'd play it again. Why? Breaking news. If news broke, they were going to have it ASAP. And I know on Twitter you get the news fast, but CNN is going to put it front and center. It's easier to find. Then one day, there was, I can't remember what it was. I think it was, there was a hurricane was coming or something. And I look at CNN and there was a panel talking about Trump. And I was like, I don't care about this. So I switched the news channels to Fox News and they were talking about the hurricane. Left it on. Switched back to CNN, talking about Trump. So I'm back to Fox News. The next day I put on CNN again. And it was just running. And then it's crazy. I had CNN on. And then they were talking about Trump, and I heard that there were mass protests in Iran and on X. And I was like, what is going on, man? So I switched to Fox News, and then I made a video about it. I said, here's the Fox News, the CNN challenge. Turn on Fox News, they're talking about the news. Turn on CNN, they're talking about Trump. And I was like, I'm out. I haven't watched it ever again. To be fair, I don't have the news on at all anymore. I largely just read the articles. But I do sometimes watch Fox News. This is the world that liberals live in. It's a world where the only news is Donald Trump and Trump is bad and everything bad about Trump is true. That doesn't play. Regular people who are trying to figure out what the truth is, they end up voting for Trump because you're lying about everything. Joe Biden launched his presidential campaign in 2020 off of the very fine people hoax. And I get Adam Conover in here. And did you see that one? Amazing, right? He says, yeah, Trump said there are very fine people on both sides, indicating he knew what I was talking about. And then I added, except the neo-Nazis and white nationalists who should be condemned totally. And he said that. Yup. I pulled it up. Here's the quote. And he goes, I don't live in your bubble. My bubble. The news? That's the bubble. Literally the news. Trump said thing. He lives in a fake. Asmongold had a funny take on this. He was like, bro, you're saying you're in a smaller bubble. The full quote is the big bubble. The shortened quote is the small bubble. Indeed. This is why liberals lose. Because the only way they can get forward is by lying. You know, I think the reality is, as the erratic, emotionally driven leftists take over the party, they drive out the reasoned individuals like myself, like Tulsi Gabbard, like RFK Jr., like Elon Musk, like literally Donald Trump. You're sitting here hanging out with Democrats and you're like, yeah, Trump never said that. And they go, why are you defending Trump? I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. And they say, you're a white supremacist. I worked for Fusion. You guys know this, right? ABC News, Univision joint venture. I wasn't even, this is the craziest thing. I wasn't overtly political. I said, let's go to Fukushima. I said, let's travel around the world and cover conflict and crisis. And there were people at the company who called me a white supremacist. And I was like, huh? I am a mixed race guy who does travel news, conflict and crisis. I don't even talk about politics. There was one woman, she had a dollar. She hung on in her cubicle, and she crossed out 20% of it and wrote like what we're trying to accomplish or something. I never even said anything about it. I'm like, it's wrong, but whatever, I don't care. I was talking to people about the Nicaraguan canal, about cartels, and they were like, Tim Pool's a white supremacist. And I was like, I literally have no idea what you're talking about and why that comes up. You are all psychopaths. And the reason why they would say that is because unless you are in their cult meetings bowing down in front of some altar, you were a white supremacist. Even if you aren't, you must march in lockstep with them or else. But you know what? You all knew this already. They say the quiet effort amounts to an audacious, skeptics might say desperate, bet that Democrats can buy more cultural relevance online, despite the fact that casually right-leaning touchstones like Joe Rogan's podcast were not built by political donors and did not rise overnight. Wealthy donors tend to move in packs, and some jaded liberals worry the excitement could cause money to flow into projects that are not fully fleshed out. Indeed, it will. They argue the latest pitches on the left are coming out from operatives who are hungry to meet donors' demands for a shiny new object. In a break from the past, some of the Democrats' new ventures are for-profit companies. And so far, there are still more ideas than hard, committed money. One Democratic operative described compiling a spreadsheet of 26 active projects related to creators, over a dozen of which are new since November. But a few of the efforts have ties to major donors that could give them liftoff. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to mention shedding the hall monitor reputation, but they're still liars, okay? They're all liars. Look, the easiest example that I can give right now is the obvious one that I went on Bill Maher's show. And he said, Trump and Russia and these things. And I said, and Ukraine. And he was like, what? And I was like, Ukraine interfered in the election in 2016. Politico said so. Hey, let's pull this one up. I always got to pull this one up. Oh, man. Because Politico never retracted it. I love how they tried lying later on, though. Ooh, oh boy, what's this? AI. Not available. What? Yo. An AI overview is not available for this search. Very interesting. Ukraine interfered 2016. Trump, Politico. I don't know. Maybe they finally did get rid of it because it's getting harder and harder to find. I got to just leave this one open all the time because it's from 2017. See? There we go. Ukrainian effort to sabotage Trump backfires. Hey, how about that one? So when I'm sitting down and this is the narrative we get, hey, right? How about that? It happened. Maybe tell the truth. Maybe tell the truth for once. And we might actually like who we're listening to. But you know what? It is what it is. What more can be said? So where are we currently at? What's going on? Also, we do have an interview coming up, but let's oh yeah. I'm trying to figure out where we're at after this one. This is from New Republic. Wrong again. Democrats paying influencers misses the boat. Party insiders are spending millions to find the liberal Joe Rogan. How about perfecting the message before conducting a search for the perfect messenger? Well, that's a fair point. They don't have one. I love this clip. Ex-Obama aide concedes he didn't want to criticize Biden publicly because I wanted him to effing win. And there you have it. Let's just listen. Listen to how he frames this.
I remember feeling, I want to talk about this as a huge liability. I want to talk about this as something Joe Biden can overcome. But I'm not going to go so far as to say, I think Joe Biden must drop out. He is too old to be president. A, because I didn't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes. But B, if Joe Biden is the candidate, I want him to fucking win. because I care about the country, and I can't, and I don't want to be somebody suddenly having the words we're saying taken out of context, and all of a sudden part of the case against Joe Biden from the right that would use any person criticizing Joe Biden from the left as a weapon against him. So it was about being honest about Joe Biden's age as a liability, while knowing that if he is the nominee, I want to be clear that I thought it was important to make sure we did everything we could to reelect him.
And there it is. They lie. That's what they do. Man, I rag on Trump. I mean, maybe rag on isn't the appropriate word because I'm pretty happy with it, with his administration. But I've called for Trump to be criminally investigated over the commando raid in Yemen that allegedly killed an American child. And I preface this always. I break it. This is one of the most important things to me. Obama's administration admitted to killing a 16-year-old American, and the Trump administration's accused of something similar. I want to know who is responsible. Obama signed off on what's called the disposition matrix to kill this kid. Did Trump sign off on a raid that would have endangered this kid? What are the differences? They should both be investigated. Obama should be impeached and then convicted, although I think he has immunity on this now. I don't care who you are. Trump should not have fired Tomahawk missiles into Syria. I don't like Trump striking the Houthi rebels, but I admit it's a rock and a hard place. There's a lot of things that Trump should not be doing. There's a lot of things he should be doing. But overall, it's a B, maybe a B plus. These guys will lie to you. It's remarkable. Joe Biden never said that. NPR, this is the next big story, right? NPR is suing Trump over the order to cut funding. NPR is fake news. It was remarkable. I was driving the other day in my car, and where were we? This is when we were in LA. I was driving around in LA, and I put NPR. I was a Waymo, by the way, no driver, crazy. Put on NPR, and they were just lying. And it was insane how they were lying. They were talking about South Africa genocide. And what I mean by lying is they weren't telling you the truth about what was going on in South Africa. What they were doing was presenting the news from the narrative of the right believes that white people are being systemically killed. It's not true. It's like, wait, hold on. Like, report the news. South Africa passed land expropriation without compensation. There's been murders of white farmers where they've written on the wall, killed the Boer. Those things have happened, right? You can say that and then say, experts argue this is not a genocide because there's been targeted race-based killings. And the argument you can make is there are targeted race-based killings in the United States. Doesn't mean black people are being genocided either. They don't do that. They just lie. They bring in experts who are like, white people believe this lie. And then they play like this guy was Malema being like, we're the only country that didn't drive the colonizers from our shores. That shows that we're not genociding them. And I'm like, it's all lies, my friends. Now, we do have another issue I want to get into, and that is going to be the AI apocalypse. So we'll be joined in a moment for a great interview. And let's make sure we get all this stuff. I'm going to start pulling all of this stuff up. We got Lindy Man, Paul Scalise will be joining us. Let me make sure I want to get his all of his info correct. So we'll wrap up the initial segment there. Smash the like button. Welcome back from the Memorial Day weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves last night. We went to a veterans event for veterans with cancer. It was really great. And always remember why you have that day off. It's because people died. They died doing things that most people don't want to do. They were brave, and they stood with honor, and some are injured. Some lives are forever changed, and many lost their lives completely so that we can relax and enjoy a good spring day at a barbecue. So most people need to understand that. Smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Follow me on X and Instagram and Twitter. Stay tuned. Interview will be up at youtube.com/Timcast and rumble.com/Timpool at 4 p.m. And thanks for hanging out.